Hello darlings, I am Cassandra George Sturgis. Welcome to my channel, Authentic Beauty Handmade Dolls and Crafts. In this video, I am going to show you how I sculpt and stuff my upper and lower portion for my mermaid sock doll. Thank you so much for watching. So what you're going to do is trace the mermaid sock doll pattern onto your sock. You're going to sew around the pattern and you're going to cut it out. Now, when you are stuffing your mermaid's tail for the sock, you have to be very careful because the sock is very stretchy and it will make the tail extremely long and out of proportion. So while you are stuffing your mermaid's body, I want you to sculpt the doll into the shape that you desire. So when you're stuffing the tail, don't just stuff it really like, you know, just go in like, oh, let me just put some fiber fill in here. No, you really need to take your time, and you want to, once you turn it inside out, you're going to put the fiber fill in. You want to first start with the tail. Remember to be gentle because it's so easy to stuff it out of shape, and once it's out of shape, maybe you can take all of the fiber fill out and start over. That would probably be the best bet, because what I have found, because I've made those mistakes before, is that once I get it out of shape and then I try to put it back in shape, it just doesn't work. So it's best to just start over. So as you are stuffing, and I totally suggest that you use Morning Glory or the Mountain Mist fiber fill, because they are very firm and dense as opposed to spongy. Now, as you can see in the video here, even though I am stuffing the upper portion of my mermaid sock doll, I am using my hands to shape it. So I'm giving it the upper, I'm shaping her body. If you don't shape the doll's body, the sock doll body, with your hands, you'll just have a glob, like just literally just a glob. So as you can see, I am creating the bosom portion with my fingers, and then I'm going to go in again and I am stuffing each side of the doll's chest, the left and the right side, and just to give her that definition. And I'm also, if you can see in the video, I'm using my hands to try to make sure that I keep those two portions of her bosom separated so that it would have a nice form and shape. Now, as I am stuffing the upper portion of my mermaid sock doll, I am also using my thumb to put a hole from the top to the bottom of her waist. Because what you're going to do later is put a wire from the top all the way through the bottom of her tail, so that the doll so you're able to, pose her in different positions. Her upper body turned out perfectly, but as you can see, I shaped it with my hands. So now I am stuffing the mermaid sock doll's tail with fiber fill. Now make sure that you use a dowel, a wooden stick, and your fingers to push the fiber fill tightly into the corners of the tail. If you do not purposely push the fiber fill into the corners, it will not work. So if you decide to do it later, the tail will not have the definition that you're looking for, and you want it to be packed very tightly because you're going to add the tulle to it later. So you want to make sure it's nice and firm. As I am stuffing my sock doll mermaid tail, I don't know if you can see, but I am trying to be careful as to not to stretch it out of shape. So I'm being very precise, and just like I did with her upper body portion, I am sculpting the tail into shape as well. So just remember, I'm not just stuffing it and thinking that the sock is going to hold the shape. I am creating the shape with my hands as well, because if you don't use your hands to mold the doll into shape, she will not have a nice figure. Just like I did with the upper portion of the doll's body, I am creating each buttock, and I am putting balls of fiber fill on the left and the right side, and I'm making sure to keep a line in the middle so that her body can have a nice more feminine form and shape. Now that I have shaped her body to the size and proportion that I think is going to look nice, I'm going to take my needle. I'm actually taking the needle on the inside so that the knot doesn't show, and I am going to stitch the crease to create the separation of her cheeks so that it would have a nice, feminine form. Now, you are more than welcome to skip this portion of creating a mermaid. I mean, I'm quite sure most people do, but again, to me, it's an expression of art. And whenever I'm doing something, I always want to create it to the best of my ability, and to, give it a little what I call ooh la la. So I think this is beautiful, and once I finish, I'm going to go and do the same thing to the upper portion of her body to create a bosom. I am very pleased with the way her mermaid tail turned out. I think it's very beautiful, and now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to the upper portion of her body. So I'm taking the needle in through her neck to the bottom portion of her bosom, and I'm going to go ahead and create a crease. I'm going to go around just like I did for the bottom portion of her body. And I think I'm going around maybe, between 3 and 4 times. And actually, I think this is good enough, but I think at the last minute I decide to go ahead and sculpt the bottom portion. But you can stop here, or you don't have to do this part at all. But I think it just gives the doll, make her more lifelike. And if, when you're expressing yourself through any artistic endeavor, I just think that you should go out of your way to make it look like you, I don't want to say that you care, but have you ever heard this saying that they said the devil is in the details? I think the first time I ever heard that was on, it was that movie, The Devil Wears Prada. And I think, I think what the expression means is that something can look very plain, but when you put a little work into it, that is what make it look a little bit more, the only word I know is ooh la la. That's my favorite word for something that's kind of like has a little, flash, and, what I'm saying, guys. So now that we have sculpted the upper and lower portion of our mermaid sock doll, what we're going to do is take a wire. Now, this is my favorite wire because it has a coating on it, and it's very pliable and flexible. And some of the other wire that I use, it doesn't have like that green coating, and it sticks through, or it's just, I'll sometimes have to put like a sticky foam around it so that it doesn't stick through the fabric. But this, oh my God, this is some really nice wire, and I get it from the hardware store. And see how it bends? So what we're going to do is stick the wire, make sure it goes all the way to the bottom of her mermaid tail. Now, I should have put the little tips out to make it more flexible, what I did for this sock doll. And what I'm doing is at the top portion, make sure you leave it long enough to stick into the doll's head and for her to have at least some form of neck. I am now ladder stitching the upper portion of the sock doll mermaid to the lower portion of the sock doll mermaid right at the waist. Now I am going to ladder stitch it and then I'm going to stuff it. And what I like to do is take my fiber fill and gently wrap it around the wire on the inside of her waist. But there's no point in doing it right now. You just want to ladder stitch it a little bit, and then once the doll's body is connected, I'll say maybe halfway or 75% of the way around her waist. And then you want to go ahead and take your fiber fill and start stuffing and molding her waist gently. But remember to mold. Don't just stick the fiber fill around her waist because she'll look bulky. As you can see here in the video, see how I am taking my fiber fill and I'm wrapping it around the wire on the inside of her waist. And I am going all the way around, but I don't want too much because I want her to have a nice little curve. Now after I stuff the fiber fill around the wire inside of the doll's waist, I continue to ladder stitch the doll's upper and lower portion of her body together completely. I put the navy blue flower in the picture so that my camera could focus better on the doll. Now this is when I start to get very excited because I can see that my doll is starting to come to life. So we have completed the head for Geraldine, and if you started with video 1, her eyes should be drying about now. And once we complete the body, we are going to go ahead and in the next video go over how to do the joints for her arm, because her arm can go all the way around. Now this is the joint that I use for all of my dolls, what I'm going to show you in video 4 in this series. For my Jungle Beauty Goddess dolls, for all of my dolls except the little wireframe dolls, I always use this because they can, turn their arms up and down. And because it's a little of a lengthy process, I decided to give it a separate video. Now we are finally, oh my God, her body is coming together. I know there is a doll inside of you who is just dying to come to life, but only you can breathe life into her. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.